everybody! I made this video at the request of some skiers. When we ski together, an everyday revelation is how big an impact a slight improvement in foot movement can have on skiing. I hear all the time it would be so good to see what's going on inside the ski boot. So I made it a more comprehensive guide about those hidden movements. We're gonna look at which movements are available, which are used for what, and what traps and constraints must be avoided or solved. Foot movements in a straightforward way aren't easy at all. For clean calf turns, you need to tip the feet, but not rotate. For steer turns, you may need some rotation, but control tipping. Flexing your ankle is much easier in the bottom part of the turn than in the top part or during the transition. If you try those movements barefoot, you can see how difficult they can be. The ankle has only two native movements, and none of them are exactly what you need to control your skis. Both basic movements of the ankle joint have some shortcomings, so using the ankle instinctively can guarantee an unwanted backseat or skidding when you want to carve and so on. A big part of learning to ski is separating the ankle movements into the desired directions. Understanding the functions of the ankle helps a lot in finding the correct movements. So the two basic ankle movements are the inversion and the eversion. Inversion is like sweeping medially from outside to inside. Eversion is the opposite, sweeping laterally from inside to outside. Those are not exactly what we need to control a turn. Of course, using only these two complex movements, it's not a law set in stone. You can learn to separate those movements. But if you don't emphasize their learning, you will use the two original movements, which can cause many skiing issues. The three main directions we need inside the ski boot are ankle flexion, foot lifting, foot tipping, foot rotation, and their combinations. All those subtle movements have consequences on other body parts through the kinetic chains. We can use them as easy triggers or switches for more complex motions. Ankle flexion is a stance rather than a movement. The first step in avoiding a backseat is keeping the ankle permanently flexed or closed. Ski boots have a forward lean, but this doesn't prevent the leg from moving back completely, even in a stiff racing boot. So the ski boot gives some hard limits, but doesn't provide a perfect forward lean. Without an active ankle flexion, you will fall back on the first acceleration. Another point is that the freedom of movement is bigger with an open ankle and restricted when closed. An open ankle is too loose, so you must stabilize your skis in many directions with your muscles if possible. But a closed ankle ensures a firm connection with your skid with less effort. That's why keeping the ankle permanently closed is so important. I took the ankle flexion in the first place because performing every other movement with a closed ankle is recommended. You can close your ankle by relying your body weight on the ski boot tongue. This is when somebody says push your knees forward. In this passive way, ankle flexion depends on external factors, which makes this stance vulnerable. Changing circumstances can change the state of the ankle against your intentions. On the other hand, in this case, your heel can slide back and you will lose the front part of the ski boot. We must close the ankle actively with the shin muscles. When looking for feeling, lifting your feet and closing to the shin can describe an active ankle flexion. It's like keeping a ball between your feet and shin. In this case, you can keep your ankle closed in every situation to ensure a firm connection with your skis and a solid force stance. A clear cue for deciding whether you use an active or passive flexion is the place where your shin touches the ski boot. If you feel the touch on the very top edge of the tongue, you are using a passive flexion. Touching the lower part of the tongue is a sign of an active flexion. With tipping, you roll your feet on the side and the ski on the edge. This movement is used to initiate a turn or increase the edge grip. We call supination the rolling to the pinky toe side and pronation the rolling movement to the big toe side. It's easy to mix tipping the feet with other movements. Many skiers think that tipping movement is how we press the big toe ball down or push the knee to the side. Pressing down the feet opens the ankle and pushes back the whole body, so pressing down the big toe ball can be a reason for a back seat. Pushing the knee to the side is one of the most unhealthy movements in skiing. Moreover, it causes a femoral rotation in the hip socket and compromises posture stability, so we must avoid it. Tipping must be performed with a closed ankle and a stabilized knee, preferably without visible displacement of the upper parts of the leg. If you practice it, you will realize that tipping to the big toe side is easier than tipping to the pinky toe side. This is one reason why using the inside ski is much more challenging. For example, everybody knows the feeling when the inside ski's tail gets stuck in the snowplow turn. One reason for this is the wrong setup of the inside foot. As long as this foot is turned to the big toe side, the tail will be blocked. It's even harder if the body is between the skis but not over the inside ski. The solution is to tip this foot to the pinky toe side and rotate slightly towards the turn. You can test yourself without ski boots on barefoot. When you try to pronate, you turn your foot laterally outside. When supinating, you turn it inside and open the ankle. Tipping clearly without any additional movement isn't easy at all, but it's necessary for precise turns. Another interesting point is that we used to screw up the timing of tipping in a parallel turn. Usually, we tend to tip the big toe side of the uphill ski first and roll the downhill one later, only then when the uphill has already started the turn and we received a pressure and a support from it. In this case, the two skis work against each other, causing a delay in the initiation, less anticipation, deforming of the turn shape and postural issues. Foot rotation is not the same as leg rotation. Leg rotation happens in the hip socket, while foot rotation happens inside the ski boot without a bigger visible sign. Actually, for a good foot rotation, we must stabilize the upper part of the leg oppositely. At the first glance, we might think that rotating the feet rotates the ski in a way of the steer turns. It can achieve this, but not only this. These rotational movements are brilliant, versatile tools that can control the edge grip, the fore-aft load, generate counteractions in the body and more. Inversion consists of supination, plantar flexion and medial rotation. Or if it's easier to understand, we roll the foot on the pinky toe side, rotate it inside and open the ankle. Eversion, the opposite of this, combines pronation, dorsal flexion and lateral rotation. So we tip the foot to the big toe side, rotate it outside and close the ankle. This is how we instinctively act with the ankle. So for example, if we want to create a pressure on the big toe ball, at the same time we tend to close the ankle and rotate the foot outside. Another example is when looking at the edge grip on the pinky toe side, it can rotate the foot and the ski tip towards the turn, but tends to open the ankle. Working out and fine-tuning the ankle movements via trial and training is more efficient than on the ski slope. Even more so, those drills can improve the health of the foot's arch and the everyday posture. Another point we can consider is the importance of the boot fitting and the custom footbed. If you found it helpful, you can support our work by giving us a super thanks. It's a great way to help us. See you again!
you.